Hey everyone, I want to talk about why not being able to handle discomfort is one of the major causes, if not the major cause, of all human emotional disturbances. So I put this video into three different sections where I want to talk about examples of unconditional other acceptance, unconditional self-acceptance, and unconditional other life acceptance. And at the end, I'm going to do a little bit of summary and some insights, three pieces of takeaway for wearing anxiety or wearing all discomfort like an uncomfortable coat. That involves all symptoms of physical symptoms of anxiety, depersonalization and derealization, chronic shame, chronic guilt, groinal responses, anger, depression, any type of sensation that you've put a value system on and you rate as horrible, terrible, I can't stand it. Those irrational beliefs that we talk about and break down in the webinars and coaching services is very, very key to cover, and how all of us has reached these longer stages of recovery where the irrational belief has a very hard time of latching because we've broke it down with these principles. Before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button, comment down below, let me know what you think about this video. I want to spend a good amount of time talking about unconditional other acceptance and why I think conditional other acceptance, not unconditional, where we don't write humans off and we realize agreement doesn't mean acceptance. Why conditional other acceptance is more than likely the biggest threat to human beings, to civilization as a whole, on a violence scale, an anger scale, and a resentment scale. So the examples that I put down that I wanted to talk about really were wars, street fights, gangs, bar fights, things where people really get themselves into trouble. I always say if you go to a prison and you speak to a lot of the people who are there, gang members, and obviously cultural backgrounds, economics, societal upbringing, have a big factor in that when they don't understand their belief systems. But it's very important to realize that the conditional other acceptance beliefs that they hold and not being able to handle discomfort, because anger, resentment, serious frustration, not really healthy frustration, all are emotions that people don't like to feel. So when people feel bottled up and they don't like that discomfort, that's when people lash out. So learning how to wear that discomfort, especially anger, and realizing that we primarily make ourselves angry. There's a lot of talk in the world about trying to fix the external environment. All you can do is respond. We have very, very little control over basically anything. Very control over other people's political views, religious views, OCD views, anxiety views, family views. People can barely change themselves, let alone change other people. So when you're talking to someone about something, whether you agree or disagree, you're not going to be able to force them to think anything different. Again, because most people can't change their own belief systems. So you have zero control over changing other people's. You might be a very small influential factor, but your ability to change them as a person is very, very low. This is a mistake that I've made multiple times, and where I see conditional other acceptance becoming a major problem, especially with anger, resentment, and all of that. I just got back from the gym, so I'm really thirsty. If you want to learn more about the anger aspects and why anger, resentment, and rage are really problematic and why people don't want to give those beliefs up, anger is the one human emotion, as Dr. Albert Ellis said, who created REBT, the principles that we use. It's one emotion that humans don't want to give up because humans believe that anger gets them what they want. And unfortunately, this just isn't the case. Anger usually does the complete opposite. The calm, rational person usually always has the upper hand. You can debate that on like severe tyranny and dictatorship levels, but even people like Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Nelson Mandela, these figures that had severe societal pressure on them, a lot of times they might have been passionate, but they weren't really angry. I'm sure everyone gets angry from time to time, but they were a lot less angry than what people thought. Where today, people get angry over the simplest things, a coffee size being wrong, and then they rage out. That's because the inability to handle the discomfort. And always important to remember that we create our own emotional disturbances primarily. Some more than others. When someone comes in with a severe, the word trauma is thrown around a lot, but a severe traumatic experience, We're not here to talk about what's trauma and what isn't, but we'll use that as this example. That activating event does hold validity in that, but the belief you hold about that is really the most problematic part. We know this because I was listening to a great story by Tony Robbins where he was on a speech talking with, a mother went with Tony Robbins to, I believe it was the Sandy Hook shooting where all the little kids were killed. And I think her son was killed in Columbine here in Colorado. And people said, you're never going to be the same again. Your life is over. And she said, no, that's not true. I miss my son and I have sorrow, but I've learned from this experience and try to help others heal and cope. That's a very severe experience. Again, it's not about comparative suffering. I'm just using this as an example that you can wear the discomfort. You can learn from these situations and apply that to a healthier belief system. So the social media aspect of conditional other acceptance is what I want to talk about too. We don't need to respond. So what I've gotten very good at is when someone, as a society, when someone disagrees with us, we believe that we must show them, okay? This is the opposite of stoicism and the opposite of a strong philosophical background, in my opinion. So if someone says something on a YouTube video that you disagree with, there's no need for you to write, I disagree. I don't answer to those comments. When someone just says, I disagree, it's this way. You're allowed to have your opinion, but I'm also not going to respond to you because I know what that person's looking for. They're looking for someone to engage with them. And I starve them of that ability to have that conversation, which is really frustrating for the person, but it's also very good for them because people believe cold-heartedly that they need to be heard. But no one needs to hear us. No one needs to actually listen to us. Everything I talk about is all the lessons I've learned from Rob, everything I've applied to myself, and now I hopefully can teach other people to get themselves to a place where they don't need the acceptance from other people like they believe. Acceptance from other people is great and it feels great. It's always about feelings. This is why thinking, feeling, behaving are all intertwined. But we don't need certain feelings. It's why we don't talk about motivation and inspiration. That plays a very small part in actually moving forward. The second part I want to talk about is unconditional self-acceptance and the inability for certain people to wear shame and guilt. Chronic shame and chronic guilt is perpetuated by conditional self and conditional life acceptance. That's why I'm going to talk about conditional life acceptance after this. So conditional self-acceptance looks like, I'm a horrible person. They attach behaviors to identity, where a human being is an ever-changing, complex structure, you could say. The true self doesn't exist because your true self at 7 is not your true self at 30 and not your true self at 90 if you live that long. It's an ever-changing process. Your true self at 30 if you live in America is different than your true self at 32 if you move to Europe because of the cultural backgrounds and different, societal beliefs, et cetera, et cetera. So the self is ever-changing. Humans are very good at quantifying complexities into very simplistic structures. Sometimes simplicity is great. Sometimes simplicity is not so great because it teaches people to think in these very linear ways where really thinking is not even non-linear. There's nothing to it but zigzagging and backwards and ups and downs and peaks and troughs and it's just not what we think it is. So when we get in those fixed ways of thinking, it produces these unhealthy emotional consequences that we think that we can't stand. And then we go down the route of compulsions and avoidance behaviors in an OCD sense. And humans are primarily very compulsive creatures. We're not even talking about just OCD anymore. I'm talking about just humans in general. So it is very important to cover that. Very important. The third thing I want to talk about is unconditional life acceptance. Accepting that you have OCD. Now to recap, even with with conditional other acceptance, with conditional self-acceptance, and conditional life acceptance, all of those, in order to reach the unconditional side, which takes practice, changing your beliefs little by little, we have to realize that agreement doesn't mean acceptance. And we never write someone off or ourselves. We never really want to. We can highly disagree with an action, highly disagree with a life event. But in my opinion, and what we see, applying that unconditional self and other acceptance and to life produces much more healthy emotional outcomes. You're never going to be standstill in your emotion. Many people have heard me talk about the pendulum swing, where people are pendulum swinging from side to side. Humans are usually like very angry or very full on or very sad and crying. Those are natural human emotions. But if you're swinging so far another direction, you have a very hard time being in that moderate place where it's healthy sorrow, healthy. People always laugh at me when I do this. I'm sure someone's going to pause this and write in the comments. Please do. So the pendulum swing is always going in one direction, but the more we sway into those extremes, the reason why extremes are so catchy is because humans really think that they have to show the extreme in order to get their point across. But we don't have to show our extreme like that. And it's very beneficial to develop these more rational stoic philosophies and realism, really looking at the brutal reality of life, that there more than likely is nothing after death, as there was nothing before life, that more than likely that life has no universal meaning. It's only the meaning that we give it. This is very triggering for people to hear. It doesn't need to be triggering. Life, there's nothing that is inherently triggering. Nothing. Zero things. Not even the strongest thing you can imagine is inherently triggering. Epictetus, great Stoic philosopher, had his leg broken by his master. And from the myth and the story, who knows if it's real or not, and how much it was kind of, swayed. But he didn't have any strong emotions. He just said, hey, you broke my leg. So even in those conditions, you can look at things very rationally. I think it's very important to cover. So, breaking down deservingness and fairness will be key, because when we believe that something must be fair universally, that brings a feeling of sureness that isn't actually real, because we know that deservingness and fairness aren't real because kids die of cancer. That's all we have to say. That's the only thing, right? Kids die of cancer every day. People are hit by buses and killed in car accidents every day at a young age. And that is not universally fair per se, but because there's no universal fairness, that can be quantified. It's very easy to break down. The more rational become, it is, just a real quick disclaimer, the more rational you become, it is understandable, the more disconnected you will feel. Not in the depersonalization, derealization sense. Humans are addicted to irrationality because it gives them a sense of false purpose, where we don't really have any purpose besides the purpose that we deem fit. This took me years to develop, and still changing my philosophies in certain structures. So the end, I want to talk about insights and mistakes. The number one insight, and I've made this into a Facebook post, and I talk about this a lot in the webinars and one-on-one coaching that I do, is OCD recovery comes when you no longer need OCD recovery. Now, what do I mean by that? That doesn't mean you don't give it your all. You don't face all your fears and work on changing your beliefs with time and patience, but you don't need it. It's just a benefit. This is what you need, okay? This is the reality of life. You need this substance, water, you need food, and arguably shelter. There are people that don't have shelter out there and they have lived very tough lives, but it's not 100% needed in some, depending on the, the climate that you live. Water and oxygen are needed for life. The end. OCD recovery is not. You could live till 100 years old chronically suffering every minute of your life. It's just a reality. That doesn't mean you don't put the work in. It just doesn't mean you don't need it. It's highly preferable, but you don't need it like oxygen and food. The other part, responding to thoughts with, oh, I see you, I don't need you, I don't have to as engaging, maybe, maybe not. You'll never hear us say maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. Responding to thoughts is very, very superficial, might help a little bit, usually becomes compulsive. We don't respond to thought, sensation, images in the moment. We learn how to wear them and then break down slowly over time, maybe once a day. You're like, oh, okay, this wasn't that bad. You have a tough scenario, you come home and you say, that wasn't that bad. Those little chipping away of the stones is where the belief systems are come in, but they don't come in from responding with maybe, maybe not. We'll never use maybe, maybe not. We don't talk about engaging in sentences as they come in self-reassuring. Many people are telling you to do that, but it's highly mistaken. There's no timelines and no avoidance. Avoidance is always happening because of a discomfort. Someone is uncomfortable, okay? They're uncomfortable, whether it's physically, mentally, and they want to avoid something. No need to avoid. There can't be any avoidance behaviors left when it comes to your fears. No matter what anyone tells you, there can't be any compulsions. I've heard people say, oh, in OCD recovery, there's some compulsions and some avoidance. That's like saying in alcohol recovery, you still drink 2 beers a day. It's nonsense. It doesn't make any sense. It's understandable why people may think that, but it's just certainly not true. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you want to know anything else in any of the upcoming videos. Let me know if you like more of these philosophical talks. I really enjoy doing these. they mean a lot to me. Philosophy has been one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me in my life. I'm very thankful for my OCD. I know it can be difficult to hear that when you're suffering. How can he say that? But it was the best opportunity that ever happened to me. Thank you again. Remember, info@ocdrecovery.com, and hopefully see you soon. See you later, guys.